What is up, everyone? How's it going? Welcome to Military History Chronicles. Myself, Eric, will maybe with us here in a little bit later. Doing another episode of Military History Chronicles. You guys know how I love doing this stuff. Absolutely love doing this stuff. Let's see what we got going on here. We've got a few people in the chat. I see Graham. What's up, Val? Val, man. Be careful with what you say out there. Crazy stuff in sports talk. I understand you're a little. I get it. What's up, Cryptic? Giants bore me already, but not MHC. Hey, Cryptic, appreciate that, man. Today we're going to get into something a little bit different. Talk about some successful counterinsurgency, and this is look. We're going to go in time just a little bit shortly after World War II, and then again a little bit later. Graham. I'm sure you know a bit about these guys. We got Sir Gerald Templar, right? I think that's what his name was, right? Templar, the Tiger of Malaya, yes. And then you got Major General Walter Walker, who also did similar things, but instead of Malaya, he was across the strait there in Borneo. So it's going to be interesting. Again, a lot of this information. Some of it's gonna be online, but a lot of it I got from this book here. I just finished it not that long ago. It's written by General David Petraeus and Sir Andrew Roberts. I think Graham, you probably know a little bit about Andrew Roberts, but anyways, it's called Conflict: The Evolution of Warfare from 1945 to the Ukraine. So it was an interesting book. They got into a lot of the counterinsurgency stuff. Again, they talked about the emergency in Malaya. They talked about Borneo. They talked about the Israeli conflict, of course, Vietnam, America's involvement in Afghanistan and Iraq. They got into some of the stuff in Dhofar, which was, was it Dhofar? Yeah, Dhofar, over there in Oman. Interesting stuff. Again, Graham, over there in Oman, you had some British involvement over there in the 1970s. You probably know a little bit more about that than maybe some of these other guys, but I'm sure you still understand who these guys are. But what the heck was his name? I think his name was Andrew. I got it in the book somewhere, but they talked about how they worked with the prince over there in Oman. But it was interesting. Again, if it's something you guys enjoyed, I got the description I got the information in the description, I should say, about this book. So if you guys want to go out there and buy it, hey, again, that's up to you if you guys want to read about some of that stuff. First and foremost, let's go ahead. I'm going to bring up Google Maps. That helps just show where we're going to be talking about, kind of get your bearings, if you will, right? Let's do this. Got to always bring up the maps. Boom. All right, cool. I'm glad I at least could do this stuff and can't have the good stuff in the background. But here we go. This is where, present day Malaysia is. This is where Sir Gerald Templar was. And then over here is Borneo, where Walter Walker did his thing. But it's going to be interesting. We'll get into it shortly. But again, just gives you an idea of where we're talking about. Over in this area, over in this area. This area is now kind of, it's kind of in the news, more so the Philippines, again, because you got China doing their thing over here in the South China Sea. Again, something we may see in the future. You never know. This day and age, man, nothing surprises me anymore. In a counterinsurgency, the hardest warfare to plan and conduct. With no kidding. He was in Aden. Interesting, Graham. That's freaking cool. Anyways, before I get into it, dude, you guys are going to have to bear with me. I'm going to do a little bit of reading. This is kind of get into what the thesis of the book is all about. It's really interesting. And what they do is they use these different examples of conflict to talk about their thesis. And let's get into this. Again, this is from the book Conflict. It says leaders, some of whom are politicians in this book, while others are soldiers, must be able to master 4 major tasks. Firstly, they need to comprehensively to grasp the overall strategic situation in a conflict and craft the appropriate strategic approach. In essence, to get the big ideas right. Secondly, they must communicate those big ideas, the strategy, effectively throughout the breadth and depth of their organization and to all other shareholders. What's up, Matt? Haven't seen you in a while. How's you doing, Matt? Hope you're doing good, dude. Thirdly, they need to oversee the implementation of the big ideas, driving the execution of the campaign plan relentlessly and determinately. And lastly, they have to determine how big the ideas need to be refined, adapted, and augmented so that they can perform the first three tasks again and again and again. Again, it's just, it's very Clausewitzian for those of you who know about Karl von Clausewitz. The guy is he's a military theorist. A lot of people still use his theology of warfare to this day. It's kind of transcendent, if you will, when you talk about Karl von Clausewitz. As a matter of fact, they quote a lot of Karl's work here in this book, and it's fantastic. I absolutely love it. If you get a chance, though, okay, it's a huge read. Graham, I don't know, you may have read it. On War, it's a book about that thick. It's about that thick. The funny thing is, the first chapter is kind of that's really the chapter that was refined, because unfortunately he died before he can refine the rest of the chapters. But it's absolutely fantastic. And yes, it's still taught. You got Khomeini. There's two thoughts, right, Graham? You got Khomeini and you got Clausewitz. Both of them have their individual strengths and weaknesses, so to speak. But again, Clausewitz, man, he was the guy. But here, let's get into this now, guys. With that, here, let me bring in Will. What's up, Will?
It's cracking, man.
How's it going, man? Just starting
It
to
is
get.
a-
Just starting to
it's
get.
It's a cold one out there, my friend. It is a cold one.
Is it?
Yeah, you guys don't have any cold over there in California?
It's not too bad. What is it now? I think it's getting into like the mid 30s, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right around.
it's
We haven't
low
got much
30s
freezing
here.
over here.
Oh, we got
Khomeini,
some
yeah,
freezing.
Khomeini, yeah.
We got some freezing over here in the desert. What is happening, chat?
It's going.
What's going on?
Benji, that would be nice. I got my master's, but yeah, maybe that might be something. That might be something I do. You never know, Benji. We'll see what happens. Again, let's get into this. Get back into the book again. We're gonna get into the Malayan Emergency. There's actually a couple of key figures in here, but the one that we're gonna focus on is Templar. There's a guy. What the heck is his name? It's in here. Just give me a minute. Oh, Lieutenant General Sir Harold Biggs. He was one of the guys.
So Harold.
That started it. But the guy we got to get into Templar here. Very interesting. All right. Okay. I'm going to get to where I'm at here. I'm going to get a little brief overview on what this guy did. It's good stuff though, man. Again, if you guys are interested in this kind of stuff, it's pretty good stuff. All right. Sir Gerald Templar. He was a veteran of the Somme, Dunkirk, and Anzio. So this, it's probably because of the book. He was a veteran of the Somme, which was World War I. He was a veteran of Dunkirk. Got lucky there. That's World War II. They could have got annihilated. And then, of course, Anzio. So he was part of World War I and World War II before he got into this business in Malaya. He took over both as High Commissioner and Director of Operations in Malaya in February of 1952. He was an Olympic hurdler and a British Army's bayonet champion. Templar was to prove an exemplary strategic leader in Malaya.
How about that, CNF?
Performing each essential task magnificently and building on Briggs' big idea of draining the terrorist swamp. Okay, this is what was going on in Malaya. We're going to have to go back in time here. It's quite interesting of what happened here. Let's see. It says, so often overlooked in the military histories and geopolitical tomes alike, was home to one of the most significant evolutions of post-1945 warfare. In other words, post-World War II. The counterinsurgency campaign there was long, complex, and hard fought, but it was victorious. While each campaign has different elements of focus, it was in the British colony of Malaya that a well-rounded counterinsurgency approach was slowly but surely developed. Its influence would extend like a vine throughout counterinsurgency campaigns of the 20th century and beyond. Okay, here we go. So what happened? After World War II, the pro-communist Malayan Races Liberation Army, also known as MRLA, attacked the British using much the same methods, camps, and equipment that had been employed against the Japanese. After the murder of 3 British planters in 1948, habeas corpus was suspended and a state of emergency declared. The MRLA, again pro-communists, then numbered around 5,000, around 90% of who were Chinese origin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Although they drew some support from the 1.8 million Chinese Malays, they were opposed by the 2.4 million non-Chinese Malays. 530,000 Indians, 12,000 Europeans who lived on the peninsula. The guerrillas' practice of burning unsympathetic villages that refused to supply them with food further reduced their popularity with the major ethnic group. Okay, so what happened is you got these pro-Chinese guerrillas, so to speak,
Right.
that were wreaking havoc after the end of World War II.
Well, they had them in China too, and
Yeah.
Nepal.
Well, yeah.
Malaysia wasn't the only place they had them at, but yeah.
But because this was a British colony, the British had to get involved. And again, were the British going to be able to counter this? This is something different. Again, it's a different type of fight than what they were used to during World War II.
100%. This isn't a. Hey, what's up, PK? Right. No, go ahead.
All right. Let's see. So we got this.
PK's happy.
There you go. Templar was determined from the moment he set foot in Malaya to carry out a strong policy strongly. So in other words, just like I was talking about, remember the 4 big ideas, you got to be determined, you got to be aggressive when you're implementing these types of these measures. And again, you got to be able to adapt and change with what's going on the ground. Because if you don't, you're going to run into some issues. So how did he do this? Well, let's talk about this. Let's see. Hold on. Just give me a minute here because I want to find this right.
I got to blow my nose real quick.
Yeah, go for it, man. Okay. Yeah. I wanted to get into this. Mad Mike. Hey, Graham, did you just talk about Mad Mike? Yeah, he's in here. Yeah. And I see who he worked with. Yeah, gotcha. Okay, this is okay, here we go. This is what he did. Remember, have you guys ever heard? And you guys, some of you, especially those who understand Vietnam, have you ever heard the term of hearts and minds? You've heard of that before, right, Wilby? The hearts and minds?
Yeah, that is what President Obama used to say back in the global war on terrorism.
Yeah, well, they talked about it in Vietnam too, right? Hearts, got to win the hearts and minds. You know, that's
got to win
something
the hearts
that's
and minds and end up getting you. Never mind.
But here's the thing. They used it in the wrong context because Sir Gerald Templar coined that very phrase. This is what he said. The shooting side of the business is only 25% of the trouble. Again, talking about the issue in Malaya, right? Templars reported to Oliver Littleton the colonial secretary. In November 1952, and the other 75% lies in getting the people of this country behind us. The answer lies not in pouring more troops into the jungle, but in the hearts and minds of the people. The phrase hearts and minds was picked up by the politician and overused to such an extent that even by 1968, Templar was describing it as nauseating. He didn't like the way it was being used after he coined that phrase. Imagine that. Nonetheless, it remains the most succinct explanation for how to win a counterinsurgency, and its efficacy has been demonstrated far and beyond jungle warfare. Okay, in other words, guys, when you're fighting a counterinsurgency, it's just not out there, see bad guy, kill bad guy. That's not how it works. Because the biggest thing that you have to be concerned with when you're conducting counterinsurgency is the security of the people. Okay? Because if you go in there and you go out there and you start killing a bad guy, which is, yes, you want to be able to neutralize the bad guys. But if you're not keeping the people safe from those same bad guys, well, then you're not doing yourself any service in trying to win, quote unquote, the hearts and minds of the people, to get them to back you, because you got a better way of life for them. That's the biggest thing. If you cannot provide security to the local people, forget about it. The game's over. You have to be able to do that. Again, you'll see it here in this example of the Malayan Emergency, but you could also see it in Iraq. And if you can't protect the people, you know what you wind up? You wind up turning them enemy against yourself. You cannot do that. All right. Templar's counterattack could be intelligence led. For 15 months, starting in 1952, Britain undertook a wholesale reform of the Malayan police force, with 10,000 officers removed for corruption or incompetence. The two often overlap. And new police schools were set up where senior British police officers taught analysis methods and investigation techniques. 4 months, basic training was made compulsory for every officer, and the best were trained for a year in Britain. The number of ethnic Chinese in the Malayan police force more than doubled in the calendar year in 1952. And with improved discipline through intensive training, closer relations between the security forces and the population, which led to the virtuous cycle of better actionable intelligence, which in turn led to better security situation. All right. So in other words, you get rid of the riffraff, man. Get the hell out of here. Hey, if you can't cuss mustard, get out of here.
I'm kind of part Chinese, man. Like, I don't know how I feel about that. But anyways.
But this is where it's going. Talking about the book.
Yeah, keep going.
This is what he said. Because remember,
by the way, so I just confirmed we are on the go with somebody who can speak about World War II if they want to speak about it.
All right, right on, dude. Cool.
Yeah. If the chat wants it, I could bring him on.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, we'll do that here in a bit. Right on.
Okay. Yeah. Let's continue.
Yeah, let me get this going, and then we'll get a good.
Roger that, Batman.
A good point of.
You guys will get a taste of my grandmother here pretty soon.
Right on.
Shit.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome.
Oh, dude.
So what they're doing is you're getting rid of all these people, right? Again, it's the incompetence and the corruption. That's what you had to root out, period. But they also hired competent Chinese, right? That's going to, because you do have a certain population of Chinese that you're dealing with in Malaysia.
Well, and this is like a repeat of 1939, man, in the United States. So you had a bunch of Japanese on the West Coast, right? Yeah.
Well, this wasn't internment. This has to do with the police force. A little bit different.
But the police force does govern your laws, right? So
yeah, and that's why the British wants to make sure when they're training them that they're getting the right training. Because what are you doing when you're training these security personnel? Just like I said before, when you got to provide the security for the people got to believe in the people who are securing them. If they can't trust the people who are securing them, it's a lost game. Game over. It's game over.
100%. Yeah.
Insurgents taken alive proved valuable. Torture, ill-advised on both moral and practical grounds, was spurned in favor of interrogation methods that abided by the Geneva Convention. There were two main justifications for the logic. Torture radicalized those it touched. And all too often, it also produced worthless information, given simply to make the pain end. Templar introduced an overall doctrine based on a new manual entitled The Conduct of Anti-Terrorist Operations in Malaya, which his officers were expected to learn and follow. This concentrated on the effective clear and hold operations rather than large-scale search and destroy.
Holy shit. Clear and hold sounds
familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah,
that's exactly it's you know what they put it in parentheses and they use or in quotations because
sounds very fucking familiar, man. That's what we did in Afghanistan and Vietnam and didn't.
Well, clear and hold was actually used in Iraq when things started changing around. Search and destroy is what was used in Vietnam because they never stayed where they were. They go in there, search for the bad guys, kill them,
didn't search and destroy, and
then leave.
And the GWAT, no.
And then Now, when they first got into Iraq and they first got into Afghanistan, yes, it was a lot of search and destroy. That's just what it was. But when the insurgency started forming in what is that? Shortly after the war, was it 2004? It started kicking up where you had the Al Qaeda in Iraq, and then you had Zarqawi out there freaking cutting people's heads off. It was.
I like to hear Graham's opinion. Graham, how do you feel about? Well, I'll let you speak, but I just want to ask Graham real quick. What is your opinion on all that search and destroy and
clear and hold,
whatnot? And then we'll go reattack that once we're done here. I think it's pretty weak.
All right, here we go. In the time Templar spent in Malaya between February 1952 and May 1954, again, sometimes you just can't do that stuff in the matter of minutes, or I should say months. You can't do that. It's impossible. Some things take years to successfully get done.
Or
the terrorist incident rate fell from 500 a month to fewer than 100. Two-thirds of the guerrillas were killed or captured or had surrendered. And the Commonwealth troops' casualty rate declined by 4/5. In April 1952, the charismatic MRA leader Chin Peng was forced to move his headquarters from Malayan territory to Batong in southern Thailand. Between 1948 and 1960, the emergency saw 1,865 Commonwealth troops killed, one of more than 100,000 who served. A further 3,383 Malayan civilians lost their lives and almost 7,000 communists. Few other Western counterinsurgency campaigns have been as successful, aware that it would take close to a decade to complete in 1953. Templar had said he would shoot the bastard who says this emergency is over. But by 1960, it was. His focus on low-intensity, skill-based warfare meant that Malaya could look forward to an independent, non-communist future. Counterinsurgency warfare had taken a step change forward, and future campaigns would be fought in the knowledge that guerrillas could be defeated when the government forces appealed constructively to the hearts and minds of the population. There you go. Graham, clear and hold works if implemented properly. Correct. That's what it's all about. Right? It has to come in how you implement it, and that's where your leaders come involved. Search and destroy never does. Also, you have to remember by Vietnam and later, the bad guys had also read the book. Well, there you go. Great point. Yeah. If you're talking about Ho Chi Minh was a very intelligent man. He understood what they were doing, and he had generals. Giap understood what was going on. And the thing is, the Americans didn't learn. The British learned.
Well, I mean, search and destroy. I mean, we killed We killed millions of them.
We don't even know how many we killed in Vietnam. I don't know if it was millions, but we killed a lot.
We killed a whole generation of men.
Yeah, we killed a lot.
But did it work? No,
it didn't. Now,
no. The ideology was the ideology. You cannot kill an ideology like that.
And it was, and honestly, it was even goes beyond that. It goes on. Just they understood the strategic nature of what they were fighting. All they had to 100%. Do, because they understood the political nature of the United States. They saw what was going on in the United States, and they took advantage of it. The longer you could last, the more chance they had of victory. And they were playing the long game. Right?
Well, I mean, they understood that. Well, they were playing the media too.
Absolutely, they were. Absolutely, because they knew the power. Absolutely, man. They understood what was going on. We didn't, unfortunately. And we paid for a price of it in Vietnam. 100%. The British, on the other hand, they understood what was going on. They had guys, and the thing is they had buy-in. They had buy-in from their government. They had leaders who understood the process of what it was going to take to defeat a counterinsurgency.
Well, that's the thing. They had leaders that were able to explain this to the people.
Yes.
Here's what we're going to freaking do. We're going to go out there. They weren't BS and nobody. They were going out there making it happen. We don't have leaders like that today.
Yes.
There you go.
This is the guy.
I love this. This is awesome.
The guy that I was talking. This is the guy that was in Malaya. This is the guy that I just got done talking about. Here, we'll read a little bit more. His early career, there we go. We talked about that. Second World War, Italy and Germany, Malaya. There it is. Hearts and Minds. Templar combined vigorous military operations against the insurgents' jungle bases with political reforms designed to win the hearts and minds of the racially divided Malayan community. Again, we kind of broke it down. There was Chinese, there was Malayans,
right,
and there was Europeans. You had a hodgepodge of a population.
Yeah, they needed somewhere to go after all the bullshit.
Yeah, he continued his predecessor's policy of building new settlements for the marginalized Chinese population and promised independence once the guerrillas had been defeated. This won him the support of many nationalists. So again, this is what the key is here, is even though the terrorists, the guerrillas, so to speak, were Chinese, but they were Chinese communists, they would take advantage of the Chinese Malayans to support them, and if they didn't support them, they would burn their villages. Again, that's kind of what happened in Vietnam, right? But unfortunately, we didn't catch on. And again, the British came in and they understood that. Hey, we got to protect the population. That's where he had his success, and it's a little bit too small. Let me. There we go. Okay. Again, here we go. This shows you a map. Totally the different areas of the country, which is now Malaysia.
Yeah.
The answer lies not in pouring more soldiers into the jungle. Remember this, but in the hearts and minds of the Malayan people. The shooting side of the business of this business is only 25% of the trouble, and the other 75 lies in getting the people of this country behind us. There you go. And then again, he involved local involvement. Again, this is something that the United States wind up doing. Later in Iraq, 2007, I think they started implementing the clear and hold type of a strategy.
Yeah, and they did it in Afghanistan too.
Yeah, it didn't quite work there. It worked in Iraq, not so much in Afghanistan. Yeah.
Yeah, here's your nice shoes. By the way, a Taliban's going to kill you later after they see it.
Yeah, exactly. It was talk about a mess. It was a mess. Let's see. Graham, that is very important. Military action here never, ever, ever, ever takes any notice of public opinion. Okay. There you go. A lot of how Templar was able to think was because he had experience of empire. We knew how to do it and also win. Yeah, look. We could talk about the Boer Wars.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That was in a way a counterinsurgency, right? The Boer War down in South Africa. And
the Boer War was definitely a counterinsurgency.
There was a couple of Boer Wars. There was 1 and 2.
Well, there was that. Granted, there was also Rhodesia.
No. And then, of course, all the colonies, the Zulus, all that stuff. Yep. And then,
Rorke's Drift.
And then, if you want to get into the Troubles, that was counterinsurgency to an extent, right?
Well, being part Irish, I have to say.
Yep.
Chucky, you're alive.
What's up, Alex? Thanks. But again, you got again, and that's why I love what the preface or the thesis of this book is those three factors. You got to get those big ideas. You got to get the big ideas right. You got to communicate those big ideas, and not only communicate those big ideas, you got to be able to adapt and change and pursue that strategy with all vigor. Because if
the hearts and mind things, though, son of a, anyways,
it works if it's implemented correctly. 100% it works.
Okay. Yeah, you saw 100%. My eyes get a little bit bigger than they used to be, but yeah.
100%. I mean, this is the guy who created this, and it worked in Malaysia. It worked. Problem is, when people hear hearts and minds today, you're thinking Vietnam,
I'm thinking President Bush later in his career, and then Obama, and I'm thinking you caused a lot of guys to die because of that.
And that's not the correct interpretation of what hearts and minds are supposed to be about. Just because you go out there and say hearts and minds, they have no idea what the fuck they're probably talking about.
And then that's the other thing too. People don't probably understand what we were talking about in the chat, because you and I served during that time period, and I don't know, it's a little bit hard to. We probably shouldn't go there just out of PC sake.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
I'm good on that. Yeah, you get.
But I get what you're saying.
I
get 100% get what you're saying. But I'm gonna tell you something right. I didn't know about the Malayan Emergency. Did you even know about the Malayan Emergency? Never heard of it.
No, I didn't even know there was an emergency down there. But it makes sense,
right? And again, this is what I love about military history, because there's so much stuff out there that we have no idea. Again, you think of hearts and minds. If you're talking about hearts and minds when you're talking about the Malayan Emergency, it takes on a totally different connotation than when you're talking about hearts and minds in Vietnam and further. And again, if you have the leader and if you have the strategy, you're going to have success, man. Right? And the thing is back then it was a little bit different, right? Is a little bit, now it's a little bit more. And look, is it always political, right? Will, there's always politics involved to a certain extent, but when we're talking about nowadays, it's different. Graham, you've been out of it for a little while, but yeah, there's absolutely a little bit different. The leaders today, don't get me wrong, there's some good ones out there. It's a little bit different than it was back in the day, so to speak.
All right, I'm ready for whenever you want to transition.
All righty. Well, I got another thing to talk about, but before we get into Borneo, I guess we could do this because it's not going to be too long, right?
No.
All right. Yeah. Let's go. Go ahead. Go introduce who you're going to bring on.
Oh shit. Okay, hold on. She just hung up on me. What the hell is she doing?
Well, hold on then. I'm just going to go to the chat real quick.
Okay.
What do you think about the guy? I don't think it's going to be nothing, to be honest with you. From what I've read, it sounds like it's not going to be anything much. I'm not even concerned. What's up, Christopher? Thanks for showing up, man. Appreciate it. Graduated high school in 1985. Our history classes never covered the Vietnam. You see? Man, you see, there's Chris. I'm telling you, there is so much out there. I mean, just so you know, Christopher, I served 21 years in active duty Air Force. Once I got out, I went and got my degree. I got a bachelor's in history with a concentration in military history. And then I continue on to get my master's in history, also with a concentration in military history. So just to give you a background of where I'm coming from, Chris. But yeah, it's fun.
World War II.
No.
September 3rd, 1945.
What happened in the Philippines?
Philippines, before they invaded Japan, they went to the Philippines. They bombed the Philippines.
They bombed the Filipinos?
Yeah, and the Taiwan too.
Hey guys, just so you know, this is Will B's grandmother who lives in
this is
Japan.
Obachan. Obachan, I got to ask you. So we wanted to kind of hear about your experiences during World War II real quick. And, you were bombed. How many times were you bombed, Obachan?
On the center?
Yeah.
Only once.
Once?
Yeah, just before Japan gave up.
Mm-hmm.
They came to they came to bomb there one night. That's it.
They bombed Sendai one time.
Just before gave up Japan, they bombed the Sendai.
They bombed the. Well, yeah, your dad was working at the bomb factory before that, right? He was over there working that night or something like that.
No, my father was out of town.
He was out of town. What was he? Was he drinking? Because he was an alcoholic. He liked to drink.
Oh, he was out of town for work.
Well, yeah, that's what I said. What the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Just me and my mother, not the brothers and sisters.
It was just you and your brother. So what happened to you? So you guys got bombed during World War II. There, you got firebombed. And what happened to your mom? She froze, right? Like she couldn't move.
She couldn't move. She wasn't scared.
Yeah, you had to go pick her up to go run to the bomb factory.
I had to take out of my mother. I had my brother half asleep.
Your brother was half asleep. Which one was that? Was that Minordo?
Yeah.
Minordo was asleep. You should.
Yeah, he was half asleep. I have a hard time to wake him up, and I had to pour the bucket of water.
Yeah, you had to go throw water on him, huh?
Yeah, I have to wake him up because Americans plane was just coming already.
Really?
Funny part about it, I met it here on the Fresno. The man was on the plane to bomb the Sendai.
Really? So you met somebody that actually bombed your city?
Uh-huh.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, they're at the middle of the town. They have an order at the department store and stuff like that. It's all just a little off from at the Sendai station.
Right.
They were all at the business at the district and the shopping district, and they bombed there. But they didn't bomb it at the Date Masamune.
Yeah, Date Masamune. He was your
Yeah, they didn't bomb there because they kept it. Because their historical Sendai. In Japan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but they bombed the Sendai at the town.
They bombed Sendai. Yeah, they bombed Sendai. Is anybody one second, Grandma? Does anybody in the chat have anything you guys want to ask her while I got her on the phone? This is a 90-year-old woman.
It's going to be really delayed, just so you know. It's going to be really delayed. But yeah, if you guys got a question, it's going to take about 10 seconds for them to ask, and then it's going to be a little bit of dead air, but that's fine.
Nobody 90 years old, lady I know.
Nobody's not. Yeah, you're not 90 years old at all. What the hell am I talking about? I'm just fantasizing that one.
Or the now or before?
So, one person in the chat says Japan is beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Well, how long has it been since you've been in Japan? You just came here, what, not too long ago?
I've been here.
Yeah, for a while now.
More than
more people.
More than 50 because Lyle and Jane born here.
Yeah, Uncle Lyle, man.
Uh-huh.
But that's cool. But your dad had brothers too that served during the war, and they never came home, did they?
No.
No, they were all. They got.
No, he's dead anyway,
Oh shit! That's a nice way of putting it. Oh man, that's the old Japanese right there, man.
My uncle, they got a draft just before war's over.
Oh man.
My mother's brother, young brother.
Your mother's younger brother? Yeah, well, yeah, that's right.
He got a draft,
Yeah.
Then right after he went there, war's over, so he didn't go actually anywhere.
He didn't go nowhere. Yeah. Hey, real quick before I let you go, can you tell them the story about your grandmother passed away? And then there was that one night where you heard somebody walking in Gita coming up to your house.
Yeah, that's footprints.
Yeah, you could hear the footsteps.
Yeah, you know, they
Yeah.
I think they was wearing the get down out the shoes. You
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah. You
and
the wood
we heard the, you know, come in that little alley way, you know, to get into my house. Then my mother says, "What's that noise? Clunk, clunk, clunk,
clunk,
clunk."
clunk,
You
clunk,
know?
clunk. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Then they
Gita.
stop. Yeah, stop. So my mother said to go outside to look. I said, I ain't gonna go and
Hell
look
no,
outside.
man. I could go outside look at that shit. Are you kidding me? I didn't see no damn ghost. Oh man. Hey, Obachan.
What?
Benoit, I really thank you, and Eric thanks you, and we all thank you for being on the show real quick. I really wanted people to hear that, and I'm so glad people were able to hear you talk about what you were bombed in World War II, and I almost
Yeah,
wasn't.
World War II.
Yeah, I almost
Yeah,
wasn't
you
here.
had Sendai downtown. Oh, just a
Big old firestorm,
red,
man.
big
Yeah.
old fire.
Yeah, big fire. And then
And you know
then the
what?
next day they were stacking up the bodies to
Yeah, then you know when I met the guy at the bottom of the Sendai, you know,
yeah.
his name John, and he was in the Air Force, and he told me all about that. How they
Oh yeah, that's
you
right.
know,
And you were
yeah, how they
CNA.
came
Yeah.
to there at the Sendai because they come at and at before noon they flew, you know, that the B-29.
Yeah, they flew a reconnaissance mission.
Yeah, they take all the picture where they're gonna drop a bomb.
Mm-hmm.
You know, then there comes the night.
Mm-hmm.
You know, then they drop that the middle of the business district at the Sendai. They bombed it.
Yeah, they bombed the hell out of you guys.
Yeah, downtown. You know.
All right, Grandma.
Yeah.
Grandma, I'm gonna let you go, but I really appreciate you hanging on and.
That's all right. Anytime.
Yeah, people in the chat are saying thank you. And,
yeah, it's awesome, man.
Yeah, that's cool. I really appreciate it, Grandma. Thank you so much, Grandma. I'll call you tomorrow.
Okay, love you.
Love you too. Bye.
Hey, that's awesome. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's
cool, man. I mean, living history right
cool.
there. That was living history.
Yeah, that it is. Yeah, the firebombing was no joke, man. That shit.
I'm glad I was able to share that with you guys. I really wanted to get that on the internet for a long time now, and I really appreciate it.
It'll be up there all the time now, man.
Immortalized, man. Yeah, I love it. I love it, man. Dude. I can't believe that, man. I can't. Could you believe? I mean, so she left out a few details there. One of the details was I mean, she's getting older, but she had to wake up her family because they were getting.
Oh, she talked about that. Yeah, she had to get a bucket of water and throw it on the
bucket of water, and then they ran through the rice paddy. And as they were running through the rice paddy, the B-29s coming back around, and they were actually shooting at them.
Yeah.
As they were running through the rice paddies, and so the actual shelter was built into the mountainside.
Mm-hmm.
And that was cool, man. I'm glad you guys got to hear that. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, CNAF. Thank you for everybody who stuck around for that. I'm really happy that she's not gonna be around for very much longer, man. You never know. So
yeah, exactly. You just never know.
I'm really happy you guys got to hear her voice. And yeah, that's the old gal, man. That's the old grandma.
That's awesome. That's freaking awesome.
Man. Yeah, man. That's.
Well, thanks for bringing her on, man. Appreciate it.
No, she was happy as all hell. She goes, "You ready for me yet?" So she was calling me as we were on the show, and she goes, "You ready for me yet?" Well, you give me a call when you ready, then.
That's great.
She's giving me fucking orders.
Letting you know who's boss. That's what's going on, man.
Grandma's always boss.
Remember that? I'm sitting there talking about getting the big ideas right, communicating, pursuing it aggressively. Well, that's what she was doing. She was telling you. Oh my god,
dude! Yeah, she's amazing.
All right, here we go. Man. The next topic. It's similar, right? Except we're not going to be in Malaysia now. We're coming over here across the strait. Whatever is that? I guess would that be? Yeah, I guess that's a strait, huh? Sorta, right through here. Now you got Borneo. This is where we're going to talk about Major General.
Borneo is an interesting country. Oh yeah.
Yeah. another colony of the kingdom, right? Or the empire. I see Graham talking about the empire. Remember, the sun never set, right? On the English Empire.
Sure as hell didn't.
Right? Until recently.
I appreciate that. See, I'll pass it along to her, man. She was tickled.
Yeah, awesome.
She'll love that, man.
It's going to be a little bit interesting. Let's see. I think this one has a map. Here we go. Yeah. While I'm talking, we can bring this up.
Borneo, that was a real bastard.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Was it as big a bastard as Ireland?
Yeah. All right, here we go. This is the area we're talking about here. All right, I'm going to get into just a little bit more reading again, guys.
Do her to her.
Bear with me. British Commonwealth warfare. In an unexpected and somewhat counterintuitive way between 1962 and 1996, when it fought an almost completely secret war against Indonesia.
Yeah, ideology for the most part.
In a way that would be inconceivable in today's hyper-connected, technology-dominated world where satellite imagery is widely available and mobile phone connectivity almost global.
Oh, don't get me
Some
started,
30,000 troops from Britain, Australia, New Zealand, and Malaysia, which is the successor state to the British Malaya, fought a war deep inside the jungles of Borneo in an almost total secrecy. Whatever the shortcomings in the evolution of warfare, the fighting showed that non-native troops could excel in jungle combat. How about that?
You got to hire the Sarawak Indians, man.
You know who fought? You know who was a big contributor in this fight for the British? The Gurkhas. Let's see.
I have a relative who was a Sarawak.
A who?
A Sarawak Indian.
Oh, really?
From Malaysia, yeah.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah. My cousin's wife is a Sarawak Indian.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. The Indonesian president, Hamad Sukarno, had wanted to strangle the Federation of Malaysia at birth. Again, Malaysia. It became Malaysia once the British gave them their sovereignty. So it went from a British Commonwealth of Malaya to the country of Malaysia. So the Indonesian leader wanted no part of that country being in existence, so to speak. And set his army and the Indonesian Communist Party to task. The Indonesian army officers led guerrilla cross-border raids from, I'm not going to even say it. It's this word right here. I'm not going to even try to.
Sarawak.
Nope, Kalimantan. Kalimantan.
Well, you just said it, so there you go. I tricked you.
There you go. Into Sarawak, posing as volunteers rather than as Chinese had in the Korean War. These raids became more frequent, aggressive, and far-reaching, and included seaborne and airborne raids from the Malayan on the Malayan Peninsula from August of 1964 to March of 1965. In September, some 200 Indonesian regulars attacked the British Army outpost at Long Jawai. Jawai? Jaway. Jawai.
Have fun with that. Holy
yeah.
Fuck.
The Indonesians also supported the terrorist Chinese Communist organization in their sabotage attacks in Sarawak and Sabah. So you can see in those areas up to the north of what is now Indonesia.
CNAV, Graham was in the military. He was also intelligence. We'll put that in quotes there, and
fair enough.
We'll leave it alone. But yeah, Graham is he knows what he's talking about. Just so you know.
Yep. Alex, this took place between 1962 and 1966. Again, right in the timeline when we were getting into Vietnam. Yep. Here we go. Major General Walter Walker, the Commonwealth Director of Operations in Borneo. In other words, he had the same position that Templar had in Malaya. was given orders to contain Indonesian aggression without escalation to open war. It was a tough assignment and one that rested on deniable, covert form of warfare. He recognized the impossibility of patrolling the 1,000-mile land frontier, not to mention even longer coastline. With only 5 regular battalions, as he recalled, it would have been madness to put them in penny packets along the border. I therefore held them back.
Battalions.
I know. And relied on small surveillance groups on the most likely incursion routes. So in other words, he's understanding that he cannot in any way, shape, or form with the manpower available undertake a significant action against them. He had what he had, and he had
5 battalions. So just in case you guys don't know what a battalion is, 5 battalions would be about 1,500 men or so. That's not a whole lot of men.
Yeah, it's not.
That's nothing really. I mean, oh my God.
All right.
Graham served the crown. Yes, he was a servant to the crown.
Okay, here we go. The splendidly entitled Operation Claret. This is the name of the operation in Borneo. There started in April.
I don't mean in a bad way either. I'm just
gotcha.
That's what they call themselves.
1964, and saw battalions conducting one operation a fortnight in 1964.
Fortnight?
And 2 a week by mid-1965. A 4-fold increase intended to dominate their Indonesian antagonists. Walker was determined to fight a jungle war rather than a war that merely happened to occur in the jungle. He was thoroughly versed in the importance of winning. Guess what? What do you think he was winning? I take a guess. Your favorite quote of the day.
You son of a bitch. You're going to make me have to take a shot of fucking whiskey over
here. There you go.
I'm going to be all mad again.
The hearts and minds of the local, mainly Iban, native population, where he did by emphasizing that the Commonwealth was protecting them from Indonesian incursions. Again.
Fuck you, Alex.
Here we go. And this guy also served under, talking about Major General Walker, he served under Templar in Malaysia. So he understood the basis of how successful counterinsurgencies can work.
I said son of a bitch, PK.
Jungle warfare, unlike many contemporary forms, involves close combat operations. Indeed, the average contact distance combatants during the confrontation, that's what they call it, the confrontation. Yeah, I see PK. Was a mere 5 to 10 yards. Could you imagine? You want to talk about some close quarters fighting? Within 5 to 10 yards?
I love you guys.
Guerrillas
dude,
could appear unseen and unheard, notes one historian of the campaign, and then vanish into the rainforest. Their dominance in numbers and their readiness to do most of the fighting inside Indonesia, the Commonwealth won the confrontation with relative ease. Oh, yeah. See, then they go into what he exactly did. It's freaking pretty crazy.
Holy smoke.
Let's see. There was something I wanted. What did he say? There was a certain line that he said.
It's not Christmas anymore, PK.
Yeah, no kidding, huh? It says Commonwealth troops did not always return to base after operations, but often stayed in the jungle waiting to ambush the enemy. Totally different than what the Americans did in Vietnam. One Gurkha unit waited in ambush for 40 days before the terrorists fell into their trap. You want to talk about some patience.
Damn,
he had to be played at his own game by living out in the jungle for weeks on end. Walker wrote of the Indonesian guerrillas. He goes, the jungle has got to belong to you. You must own it. And you must dominate it. You must, as he put it in his autobiography, out guerrilla the guerrillas. Right?
Okay, so how come we didn't do this in Vietnam?
Because that's the problem. Because see, the British, we weren't talking to the British during this time. We probably should have. This is something that it would have behooved American military and political leadership to talk to your allies across the pond over there in the UK and say, hey, did you guys have some success? Now, granted, this one in Borneo was a little bit different because that one was on the down low. No one knew about what was going on because of the ramifications it could have had
right.
in what the British were doing, okay? Now, in Malaysia, I'm pretty sure that was probably well documented. Why they didn't want to? Again, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. I mean, how many times do you and I talk about Vietnam in the last 3 months or so? It comes up pretty frequently. You know, we always share YouTube videos or you know, something wrong that happened there, and then we did the same thing in Afghanistan. We treated Afghanistan like damn Vietnam all over again. Well, anyways, that's a topic for another fucking shit.
Yep.
Another day. Sorry, guys.
No worries.
Throwing the
we already got into
there,
that. But again, guys, this is why wasn't you say okay? It was unsuccessful. Yeah, it was unsuccessful on many reasons.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna even get into that. But the point I'm trying to get across here is there were successful counterinsurgency operations that occurred prior to our involvement in getting into that type of fight. Again, began with Vietnam, and then again we experienced it again in Iraq. And what's is unique, Will, you know who's co-author of this book is General David Petraeus. Him and General Mattis those are the guys who wrote the field manual on how to defeat the counterinsurgency, and they used these examples and how it can be done, and it worked.
I mean, you know, you think about it throughout the years. Who are the best at quelling all this stuff? The British.
The best. What? Oh, yeah. They got experience, man.
They
got experience. Look.
Go back in time. You got the Romans.
Think about this. UK, I alluded to this. They're our allies, right? So if you're going to be undertaking an operation that may be something that you're not used to, maybe talk to your allies and say, yeah, your kingdom has been around for centuries.
Stay safe, Jim. I don't, hopefully you're not driving through that nasty Thule fog there, my friend.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
I don't wish that nobody. Thule fog is awful.
So talk to these guys. You've had experience in possibly fighting counterinsurgencies, even though it may have been in the 19th century, right? You could still learn from this stuff. And why the Americans decided it, again, maybe because we just had, you know.
Again, you know, it goes back to, it goes back to philosophy almost. And insurgency really is an ideology. So you're fighting an ideology. So how the hell do you quell that? You know, and the British and the Romans did it by force. You know, that was their response. You know, how dare you? You rose up against us. I mean, you look at the wars in Africa, and not even that. You look at any Roman war. You know, it wasn't just Christ that was crucified. You know, that goes way back.
Yep.
Oh fuck, Jim! I'm sorry to hear that, dude. Hopefully, you stay safe, homie.
Yeah, exactly. But it's interesting. I love reading this book. I never knew about the Malayan Emergency. I never knew about the confrontation, as they call it, in Borneo. Had no idea, and I was like, wow.
Well, there was so there's a great book too that I have in my closet that goes prior to World War II, about the colonization of Southeast Asia. And it's from the Japanese perspective and what they felt was happening there, and that was a major. You're going way back. Yeah, and that was a major precursor to them going, okay, if anybody's going to the Japanese felt like they were doing justice when they took over these countries. They felt like that they were not. They felt like the white man, the gaijin, so to speak, was taking over the world. And if anybody's going to subjugate the Asians, it was going to be them. And that was pretty much the thought and the theory at that time.
Gotcha. Interesting.
Shardo in the chat. What's up, Shardo?
I see that. But yeah, it's interesting. Again, I read this book, and I never expected to be reading what I read because I've never seen anything. Now, granted, it's only a short little blip on what they talked about. There's probably a lot more books that were written on this stuff, but it's absolutely incredible in understanding what was going on in shortly after World War II. With the British. Look, because conflict, of course, involves more than just American stuff and U.S. 100%. Stuff. It involves
no, I mean, yeah, we only hear one side on our end, so
exactly. Graham, history books would make you believe we did because all the juicy things were in battles.
Speaking of battles, did you see that big old release by was it Invicta or Epic History today?
Nuh-uh.
No, man, they did a collaboration with They did a collaboration with Drakenfell. Remember him?
No.
It was the naval battles of Horatio Nelson.
Oh, you're talking about the naval battles.
Oh my God, it was so good today. This was
Nelson
amazing,
is something.
Dude.
Nelson was something. But hey, Graham, if I'm not mistaken, one of the reasons why the British had a foothold in Southeast Asia, so to speak, Malaya, Bangladesh, Burma, Borneo, wasn't that because of the East India Trading Company? Pretty sure it was, right? Pretty sure.
East India was the Dutch, right? Dutch.
No, that was English, but they had the Dutch. They also had the Dutch equivalent, so to speak.
Oh shit! Oh, you don't like Drakenfell, Graham? What's going on? Okay, I gotta hear this, Graham. I gotta hear this. How come you got beef with Drakenfell? Oh my God! I want to hear this. This has got to be good. Son of a bitch.
Oh, avoid Rock. He hates me with a vengeance.
Yeah. He's got beef with Drakenfell, man.
Yeah, the West Indies was Dutch. The East India Trading Company was Brits. But the Dutch were no joke, man. They were like the powerhouse there until the British took over.
Yeah, for a long.
They knew what the hell they were doing, man.
The Dutch were kind of the middleman of everybody. They were the.
So who's in this green room, Will?
Bring him on. Is that Scott?
From the phone?
Yeah, bring him on.
Oh, okay. I had no idea you were sending it to someone else. I had no idea.
Well, I mean, I thought we'd bring on another guy. There we go.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, how you guys doing?
What's up, Scott?
Good. How you doing, man?
Said to get out for a couple hours, get some fresh air.
Nice.
Scott's a long time watcher and listener of the channel here, and
nice. What do you got, man?
Scott is also a fellow veteran. He served during the Gulf War. And
nice. The first one or second?
The first one.
Nice.
And he's from Chicago.
You guys want to hear that story, how I found out?
Go for it, man. Just do it.
Okay, so January 17th was my birthday. And January 17th, I'm sitting at a bar. I just turned 21 years old. My pager goes off, right? I got a message from my commanding officer, says, hey, it's time to go. And I'm like, son of a bitch, I just turned 21.
Oh, wow.
But
you
luckily,
want to tell him how you got 9 toes, man?
Oh, yeah, 9 toes. So, guys are like, oh, it's just a little cut on my toe. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine. So, kind of waited to go to the doctor. And by the time I got to the doctor, gangrene had set in on my little toe. Yeah. I didn't. But it hit fast. It wasn't like it was like I wasn't feeling good one day, and the next day it was like total hell, right? So I go in. I'm waiting to get into the to see the doctor. I go into the bathroom, and as I'm coming back, I feel this pressure relieve on my foot, and then I look up on the back of the chair at the emergency room is all the it's the blowout from the foot.
Oh my god!
Oh,
Yeah,
This-
that's how
I felt a relief of pressure, and there's
what?
Oh, that's hilarious.
I swear, it was a big
Man.
learning experience for me. Hey, you can only fight so much, and then that's what I learned, where we need other people. You can't do everything by yourself.
There you go.
100%.
Absolutely, man. So
Yeah,
you said you served in the first, what unit were you assigned to?
I was at that point. I was in
Fort Huachuca, right?
No, Huachuca was my previous unit out of O'Hare. That unit it was an artillery.
Oh, they made you a 13 Bravo or some bullshit.
Yeah, it was originally a 96 Romeo. That's basically mobile radar reconnaissance.
Yeah. Go find all the stuff with your feet.
Yeah, there you go. Right.
I could make up a story. Oh yeah, I lost it on a landmine, but
Yeah. I lost my toe on a landmine.
So in the Gulf War, you were a part of an artillery unit then?
No, the Gulf War. The Gulf War was when I was a 96 Romeo.
Oh, okay.
But good for story. Oh, man, God's been watching over me for a long time, because at the point.
Yeah, he has. Just a real brief precursor here. This guy's been through the fucking ringer. Pardon the French, for like the last 2 years now, man. And,
I have.
God bless him, man. Jesus.
But so I joined a fraternity when I was down at school, right while I was serving, and then on one of the homecoming weekends, I see this guy, and he looks exactly like my lieutenant. I'm like, what the, you know what I mean? I'm like,
yeah.
And he goes, "Is that you, Stevens?" I go, "That's me, sir." He goes, "We don't know each other. Got that? In uniform?" He goes, "I'm going to cover your ass." He goes, but you know what it means. There's no favoritism and stuff like that. You just do a good job like you normally do. Yeah. He was really cool. He goes, "I got some information for you. We're heading out next month." Or in the next month and a half. He goes, "Why don't you just transfer over to another unit closer to home for college, so you don't have to keep traveling up?" Because our MOS was being phased out because of technology.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right.
So he's like, so then that's how I wound up in artillery.
Oh, so were you a reservist or a guard?
I was a reservist. I started out in the reserves. Okay. And then the new MOS was a National Guard MOS.
Interesting. Okay.
Love to see now.
Yeah.
So when you went to the Gulf War, you were a radar operator.
No, we didn't. The Gulf War lasted about 5 days.
Yeah, I know. I know, right?
It was done and dusted pretty quick, man.
Were you deployed?
Baby.
Did you deploy for that one, or didn't even deploy?
We got everything ready to go. We got our shots. We got our contract signed. We got our wills signed. Everything.
Right.
And they were like, "Shit, this thing's over." You know what I mean?
Wow. Wow.
Oh man, they worked them all up and then nothing happened.
Yeah.
That happens, man.
Yeah, but
it does happen. It happened to me actually. I was supposed to go with 2ID and then I didn't go to 2ID. I ended up working in the damn hospital.
Yeah, but Will, you did some amazing things, bro.
I didn't do shit, man.
You always say that. I didn't do shit.
I didn't do shit compared to this guy next to me over here. This guy did 21 years.
Come on now.
Yeah, what'd you do, Rommel?
I was in the Air Force.
He was 21 years. He's a master sergeant, man. An old master sergeant.
I started off as a aerospace ground equipment mechanic. Did that for a while. Then they tagged me for instructor duty. Did instructor duty for 4 years. Went back to my regular AFSC. AFSC is the same thing as your MOS.
Yeah.
Did that. Got a quality assurance job, which was nice. So you're working for the group commander. That was awesome. You're basically the maintenance police. That was pretty cool. From there, I got assigned to a NATO unit in Germany. So I was supporting the NATO AWACS, the E3 Sentry. That was awesome.
Nice.
That was an awesome assignment.
See, I mean, I'm telling you, Scott. I mean, these damn Air Force guys, bro.
It was awesome. And then I got
They
assigned to
lived in
Beale.
hotels too.
Yes. Yeah, it was nice. Then I got assigned to Beale Air Force Base where I helped support the U-2 and the Global Hawk, which was freaking awesome. And by the time I retired, I was the superintendent of maintenance operations. And we tracked all the maintenance and the location of all U-2 and Global Hawk aircraft around the world. We knew where everything was.
Wait, hold on.
It was awesome.
Hold on. You said it was awesome, but that probably had to suck too at the same time.
No, it didn't. It was fun.
No?
I like doing that. That was a lot of fun.
They kept you busy.
Oh yeah.
They kept his ass busy, man.
Yeah, it was interesting, man. It's you learn a lot of stuff, man. That's for sure. I enjoyed it.
You know the demise of my military career? You want to hear that? So I'll tell you the story. We're in our 2-week deployment, and every year you got to deploy for 2 weeks. So we deployed, and we're in the middle of the woods in Minnesota, where the home of the black bears. Right?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah, right. So we're all sitting out there in parade formation, and the base commander says, "I got one major rule for you: nobody is to be left alone." He goes, "We have big bears, and they're hungry." And it's yeah. He said it like that. Right?
There you go. Yeah, that's a hell of a leader right there. We got big bears and they're hungry. There you go.
There's some motivation.
Yeah. And he goes, if I hear of anything being left behind, someone's going to be in big trouble. So I was actually at the time I was the commander's driver, right?
Mm.
So he's like, "Hey, Stevens, sit back here, watch this junk, and we'll be back for you by lunchtime, right?" So
I never came back for you, did they?
Nobody ever came back for me, Will. So I'm sitting there. So the forward ops are roaming through the open field, and I'm sitting there, and they're looking at me. They're like, "This guy's not supposed to be here, according to our map, according to our intelligence."
This is the most Army thing I ever heard in my life, man. Like,
yeah,
leave your ass behind. We'll be back.
So
jeez,
it gets better. He goes, "Private, what the hell are you doing out here in the middle by yourself?" I'm like, this is not gonna sound good, but sir, they told me they'd be back by noon. It's like 5 o'clock and the sun's going down. So here's a caveat: the night before, a group of the mama bear and the baby bears broke camp. And the whistles went blow. They would, whoo, you know what I mean? And I'm sitting in the Humvee. I'm sitting in the Humvee, and all I feel, swoosh, 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 swoosh. Those big ass bears are running by me, right?
Mm.
So the story goes is the captain got brought before command for leaving me behind, right? And he got his ass just laid into him. He goes. And they're like, get Stevens up here. Like, so I had to go in his tent and get my ass chewed for 45 minutes. He goes, "I told you we were coming back for you." I said, I didn't go out for the forward observer, sir. He came to me. You know what I mean? It's not like I called him on the phone and said, "Hey, I'm out here by myself."
The bear was the observer, man.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not. I didn't rat you out. They know who you are. They know you're my commander. You know that you knew that. I don't want to hear that shit. He goes, "You got to go to mess. That's your new job."
Oh, you got KP. Oh, you got KP.
But the greatest thing about the KP thing was this. I'll tell you that story. KP was a sergeant at the local police department.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I became really good friends with him, right? And one night, I was at a restaurant. And I was wearing my fatigues, right? Not the top, and not a shirt, just Just a pair of petite.
Wellington.
Yeah. This dude comes out of nowhere. He goes, "Soldier, you're out of uniform." I said, "Oh, shit. What are you talking about out of uniform?" He goes, "You're out of uniform. You're wearing your fatigues." I'm like, "I'm just wearing my I came from my house. I'm getting something to eat." Right? There's no big deal. He goes, "I don't think you understand." He got right in my face. I'm like, "Oh, shit. I think this is someone serious." Right? So
Oh, hell.
Yeah. I said, "Whatever, dude. I we're all on the same team. You don't got to make a big scene here. I don't think you want to make a big scene here." But anyway, he kept getting more violent and more violent and more violent. And who shows up? The sergeant.
Hey,
right?
There you go.
He goes, "Stevens, what the hell are you doing?" I go, "I'm just getting something to eat, Sarge." He goes, "Did that guy threaten you?" I go, "Well, so many words. He didn't really, he was getting mad." He goes, "All right, he's under arrest." So they arrested the dude. And then Sergeant's like, "I'm going to take you in too. You're going to get cuffed too." I'm like, "Oh, shit." So he throws me in the back, the other guy in the other car. He turns on the lights.
Oh, shit.
He goes down the one street, Will. And he goes, "Hey, there's a party on Ball Street. I'm going to drop you off there."
Huh. All right,
Moving
then.
on. What Eric? Oh, I thought you had something else. I said moving on.
No, he was finishing up the story. What happened?
Oh,
He
no.
said- he goes, "I'm going to drop you off on Ball Street. There's a party going on, and I think you might want to go to it." And he uncuffed me, and he let me go.
That's freaking awesome.
I didn't do anything. The guy assaulted me. You know what I mean? And it was
out of nowhere. Yeah.
It was all the manager of the restaurant. He's like, "Yeah, this guy's out of control."
Even better than Zulu? Oh, man. I don't know, Paul. Somebody's asking me in the chat if
Zulu was freaking awesome. Holy crap.
Zulu was good. Waterloo is. If you haven't seen
I remember
Waterloo,
you talking about Waterloo.
I will not stop creaming my pants over that movie. That is a great. And the fact, so there was no CGI, man. That's all real
guys.
Those are real cavalry units. Those are real units and everything. Man, and the way they did it, Band of Brothers is good too. Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Band of Brothers,
especially since they did that's an actual true. Not to say that Waterloo wasn't a true story either, but
right. They tried to base it as much as possible on accuracy. They tried to, yeah.
I remember back in the day, every time they had a new episode of Band of Brothers, "Oh, is that you? Hero, you're an asshole." Here he is going to go hump the pillow.
Good God.
What the hell is Hero doing, man? Hero's a dickhead.
Look at
Hero. Yeah, you heard me. You heard your uncle.
He's Japanese too, bro.
Yeah, I know. And he's a pervert like me. Anyways. Jesus Christ. But anyways, yeah, so I remember they used to play the interviews before they would show the actual episodes. So you would hear, like, before the episode, they would go, we went to Carrington and we did all this and that, and it was just absolutely amazing.
In the Band of Brothers, do you think they did that Captain right? You know, that the guy that was always busting balls?
Which one was that?
Sobel? Captain Sobel?
Yeah, Captain Sobel. Yeah.
Well, he actually tried to commit suicide.
What?
What happened was he was replaced by Dick Winters.
Right.
And then he went on to command, and then he actually went blind because he shot himself here, and it just went through his eyes.
Wow. That's crazy.
He ended up in a nursing home in Fresno.
Wow. That's crazy. Is it because of him being reassigned? He just couldn't handle that? Is that what it was?
I guess he couldn't stomach not being part of the war, so to speak.
Wow. That's nuts, man.
And he ended up passing away. He ended up living to a pretty older age, and then he ended up passing away. I think he died when he was in his 60s or something.
What I don't get,
Chris, real quick, Chris, I understand how you feel, man. Hope you feel better. My L5S1 sucks as well. Haven't had surgery, but it sucks.
Yeah,
have a good rest of your night, man.
I have an L4, L5 disc myself, and I've been told to get surgery, but first of all, I don't want to be an inch shorter. I'm already short enough as it is.
And I heard the side effects are just...
And the side effects are, my uncle had back surgery, and he's got a limp foot from it. So...
Hey, Graham, there's another guy that was really good at training and sucked at leading. Guy I talk about somewhat often, American Civil War. I think everyone, as soon as I say American Civil War, I think people might understand who I'm talking about. Little Napoleon, they called him. McClellan.
There we go.
McClellan. Yeah. Get it inside your chest. Yeah. McClellan.
Yeah.
That guy sucked.
He
was a great trainer. He was a great trainer, but he
was great. He was a great general, but he sucked absolute ass.
Yeah. When it looked training, fantastic. Leading men into battle, not so much.
You know what?
Hey, I'm going to get ready to leave here pretty soon. I'm going to touch on a couple of more things here before we get out of here. Okay. A little bit of some current events. Going to be interesting. This happened a few days ago. NATO getting involved in some stuff. Gosh, dang it. Don't know why I did that. Stop 1 second. Hold on.
NATO.
There we go.
I saw it. You shared it for a moment.
There we go.
He couldn't commit, Paul. No, dude, Paul, he could have won Antietam. He could, anyways. That's a story for another day.
Antietam. Well, he did win in Antietam.
He won in quotes, but he could have.
But he didn't. He did not continue to go after Lee when he had an opportunity.
It's like the Germans at Dunkirk. Anyways.
And Meade could have done the same thing after Gettysburg, but again, they were.
Anyways,
well, that's a conversation for another day. But here we go. NATO launches Baltic Sentry. Graham, we talked about this last time you were on, to increase critical infrastructure security. Again, with all those ships that were dragging anchors in the Baltic Sea, NATO is now stepping in to make sure that this doesn't happen again. So it's interesting that NATO is actually getting involved with the Operation Baltic Sentry.
My question to that is, how do you do that without starting a war?
It's going to be tricky. But it's not military ships that are doing it. It's privately owned ships from Russia or China that are doing that. So again, what they're probably going to do is they're probably going to see if there's any ships in the area. They'll probably just say, okay, what is your intentions? And then they can do on that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But it's good to see at least NATO is not allowing them to continue to do, because they did that a few times. I think there was like 3 different incidents, something like that. It's crazy. But again, NATO.
The latest one happened last month or this month actually.
Yeah, it was only a couple of weeks.
They were dragging anchors and tearing up the.
The lines between Finland and Estonia. Crazy, man.
Hey, Dan.
But we'll see what happens with that. It's going to be interesting to see where we are going to go as far as this new administration. How are they going to confront China? How are they going to confront Ukraine? How are they going to confront Iran? It's going to be interesting. I think there's going to be more to come. It looks like Secretary of Defense he got the votes today by 1. Vice President Vance.
So there was 2 dissenters, huh?
Vice President Vance had to make the deciding vote, so Hegseth is now the Secretary of Defense. Barely got in. Barely got in.
Wow.
I got the answer for you, Romo.
What's up?
Go for it, Scott.
One at a time.
One at a time. Yeah. Right. Man.
You know the story about the Papa Bowl and the Baby Bowl, right?
No, I don't know that one.
Dan. Yeah. Okay.
You know it, Will?
I don't know.
What's that one, man?
The Papa Bowl and the Baby Bowl are sitting at the top of the hill.
Oh yeah. Don't take your time. Yeah, we can't tell the rest of that one for the stream.
I don't even know what it is. What is this?
Oh,
Okay, I'll do it.
Why not just take your time? Is what it comes down to.
Yeah, he goes, Papa, let's go down and do one of those bowls, right? He goes, let's run down and do one of those bowls, and Daddy goes, let's walk down and do them all.
What the hell? What the hell? I don't even know. I don't even know what that's supposed to mean.
Like I said, one at a time.
I gotcha.
Oh shit.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Dealing with Russia. Okay, gotcha. I'm now.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, man. That's a long one, man.
There's talk about that. I know. And here's another thing, guys. There's something's got to. I saw Trump said that this has nothing to do with what I've been reading, but I saw Trump actually say this, talking about if Putin doesn't come to the ceasefire table, so to speak, he's gonna slap tariffs on Vladimir Putin. Dude.
Well, what's that gonna fucking do?
Nothing.
Just piss him off.
Well,
I mean, piss him off. He doesn't care about that.
Pardon the French, but I mean, what the fuck is that gonna do?
Right.
Lieutenant, I believe, Highlander. I think he was.
Well, he was an NCO before that, wasn't he? He made it to E6, I think, right?
And then I think he became a lieutenant, I think.
Well, hey man, as long as he was an NCO, I'm good with that. I don't trust an officer. Sorry, Graham, but I don't trust officers.
Yeah, and this is the issue I'm having, guys. It's look, you can't keep going to the tariff back. It's like this with everybody.
Back on us.
I know. Look, if you're gonna slap tariffs on China, on Mexico, on Canada, on Russia, on anyone who you disagree with, and you want to slap tariffs, that's not going to do anything, guys. It's not. You got to have more than just sitting there talking about tariffs. And like what you're alluding to, Will, we wind up paying in the end. We're the one that gets the shaft.
We're the one consuming their goods.
I don't understand the strategy, as Paul is talking about, that and what he's trying to do. If he thinks that this is going to force Putin to the table, it's not, because it's not money that Putin is looking after. Putin is an imperialist. He has revisionist freaking ideations, man. He's trying to relive the old days of the Soviet Union.
How much do we consume from Russia? I mean,
nothing.
Is that even going to scare him in the first place?
No,
why does he care?
It's not. It's dumb. It doesn't make sense. You got to have more than just sitting there. I don't agree with you, so I will tariff you. It's ludicrous thinking.
Hey. Well, and we're already tariffing China as it is.
Yeah, I know.
And you're seeing you guys are all
we're
seeing
paying for it.
Thank you.
Two things
even better. Hey, even better.
Two things happened in the last 2 days. Putin said, "Hey, I want Fauci." And the second thing happened today was Trump released Fauci's his security detail, because
he did that to a lot of people.
Yeah,
he actually, he actually did that to his former Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo. I was surprised.
Mike Pompeo, you did it to Bolton too.
Yep. Okay, where is it? Oh, this is interesting. These guys are good, guys. You might want to give these guys a follow. I'm gonna get into this before I get out of here.
Do it.
If you guys haven't followed, these guys are fantastic. The Institute for the Study of War. They're fantastic. If you want to know about what's going on in war, they touch specifically on the Russo-Ukrainian war, and also what's going on in China. Putin is once again attempting to obfuscate his unwillingness to participate in good faith negotiations to end the war by blaming Ukraine for defending itself against Russia's invasion and illegal annexation of Ukraine. It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah.
Putin claimed during a televised interview with the Kremlin journalist Pavel Zabrubin today that he was willing to negotiate on the Ukraine issue, but that the 2022 Ukrainian presidential decree declaring the impossibility of negotiating with Putin is a significant impediment to peace negotiations. Putin falsely claimed that Ukraine and Ukrainian President Zelensky are not interested in peace negotiations and that it is impossible for Russia and Ukraine to discuss anything serious with the decree in place. Zelensky signed the September 22 decree banning negotiations with Putin in direct response to Putin's illegal annexation of 4 regions in eastern and southern Ukraine. And after months of negotiations in which Russia continued to demand Ukraine's full capitulation. However, Zelensky has consistently signaled his willingness to negotiate with Russia and make certain compromises in pursuit of peace following the 22 decree banning formal negotiations with Putin. Putin, meanwhile, continues to signal both his domestic and global audiences that he is not interested in peace, short of his full demands, and remains committed to Ukraine's complete capitulation. Putin is attempting to leverage the 22 decree as a straw man to hide the reality of his disinterest in negotiations and to sow discord between Ukraine and its Western allies. That's what he's been trying to do all along. He's trying to divide the West.
Conquer and divide, baby.
100%. Continued Western military support that enables Ukraine to resist Russian aggression now and in the future is the West's best course of action to bring Putin to the negotiating table and secure Russian concessions essential to bringing about peace in America's, Europe's, and Ukraine's interests.
So what's the next step here? What are we going to be doing here? So,
do you think he wants Fauci, though? Or is that just bullshit?
Bullshit. That's just Putin.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that too much.
That's just Putin.
Now the Panama, so PK brings up a good one. That's a good subject too. The Panama Canal.
Yeah.
So I mean, are we taking that back by force now? What are we? What are we doing, man?
I don't know.
And then the Gulf of America, right? So
what is that? What are you?
I don't.
What's the point?
Hey,
What's
don't get me wrong. I like the fact that we have somebody with balls.
No, I get it.
Office.
I understand.
I understand
that.
I mean, like, what? I mean, hey, man,
It's,
like, we got to do more than just do this. We got to go do.
Yeah, I know.
Did you hear what he said about the special forces?
Well,
what did he say?
They're very special.
No, the guy and the reporter asks, Mr. President, do you foresee using special forces against the cartels in Mexico? He looks at the camera, smiles, and he says, stranger things have happened.
Well, I mean, to be honest, special forces have been in Mexico for a long time.
Special forces are all over the place.
I heard that the special forces aren't even allowed to combat in the United States.
You're not. No one. You're not supposed to. Even regular forces, you're not supposed to be fighting on U.S. territory.
It's part of your Title 10 orders.
I never knew that.
No, Shardo.
No, not today.
Shame on you.
And absolutely, Graham. The only thing he's going to understand is a punch in the mouth. And if he threatens, you can't fall for the threat.
Thing, though.
You can't.
You punch him in the mouth. The guy's such a radical. The guy's such a radical nutbag. If you do punch him in the mouth, next thing you know, he's launching a damn nuke at your ass.
Yeah,
exactly.
But you can't fall for the propaganda. He's gonna sable rattle. That's what he does.
No, Shardo.
That's what he does.
I'm here shaming you. The reason why Corbin Burns not signed with the San Francisco Giants is because you missed your Christmas Eve calling.
Yeah.
You were supposed to sing the 12 or whatever, how many days of Christmas.
12 days of Christmas, yeah.
The 12 days of Christmas. You never showed up, and it didn't happen, and Corbin Burns went to the damn Diamondbacks, which I don't mind because they're just up the road from me. But, I mean, you're kind of a dickhead for that. So
that's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah.
Therefore, you're in my shit house. You are going to be staying in my shit house for a little bit. Anyways.
All right, guys. I got to get out of here. It's getting a little bit late. Yeah. Hey, Scott, thanks for hanging out, man. Appreciate it. We'll catch you on maybe a later episode. We'll see.
Sounds cool.
Right on, Scott. Have a good one, man. Enjoy the rest of your night, buddy.
Peace, Scotty.
All right. All right, guys. Hey, thanks for hanging out. I thought we'd do it a little bit. This is fun, talking about something a little bit different, some counterinsurgency stuff, since that's, a lot of that stuff is going on. That's kind of today's fighting is counterinsurgency, asymmetrical.
No, you go to hell, Shardo. You don't tell me to go. I'll tell you in Japanese. Senjimai. Anyway, we're done.
Yeah, counterinsurgencies, guys. That's kind of you're going to see a lot more of it. Trust me. Israel kind of saw it going on there in Gaza. Now that, it's not happening anymore currently because they signed a ceasefire. But you see it going on in Lebanon, and then of course you also got it kind of going. Ukraine not so much. Ukraine is a little bit different. Ukraine is it's a throwback to World War I type fighting. Mass waves of freaking men being decimated by drones. I mean, you got the North Koreans are getting their asses handed to them in the Kursk region of this Russia-Ukrainian war. They're not doing nothing but it's just cannon fodder. It's freaking cannon fodder. It absolutely.
I'm fucking with you, man.
No, don't even acknowledge it. But
all right, Roger.
Yeah, who cares? So it's going to be interesting. It's fun to read about some of these things. Again, counterinsurgencies is more than just going in there and I think there was a quote in there. I forgot to read it. When you're swatting a mosquito, you swat one mosquito, it ain't going to do nothing. Right. So,
I love you, PK. You're awesome, man.
But if you can take out the entire freaking quote unquote swarm, hey, now you're doing something. But again, counterinsurgency is not something that just gets done in a month's time. It just doesn't happen. It's a long slog. It takes a lot of resourcefulness, patience, and you got to have the right leaders to be able to get that stuff done. All right, guys, let's get the hell out of here. What's the next? I don't know what the next topic is. I always think about something. We'll figure it out. Maybe
it's cool. It was a good time today.
Maybe it's going to be Ukraine stuff again. Who knows? It's going to be interesting to see how this is going to transpire. It's going to be interesting to watch. Now,
Charlotte, I don't think you want that.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, Thanks, Alex. Hey, Graham. PK, Dan, I see you out there. Alex was around. Val Ramos, who was in earlier. Chris Navarro, man, he was in here hanging out. He's one of our new
CNAB was in here hanging out. He had a good time in here. That was cool.
Senior was in here for a little bit. It was good stuff.
Junior was in here. CNAB.
Yep, absolutely.
We got
all right,
Dan
man.
in here.
Let's get out of here. Until the next time, guys, be good. And we'll see you tomorrow over on Giant Sports Talk Live. But here, maybe in another week or so. All right, Will, thanks for hanging out, man.
Adios, amigos.
See ya.